I think many people would compare Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to classic 80s action stars like Bruce Willis, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and his newest film, Skyscraper, really solidifies this mentality. It's a modern version of probably the biggest 80s action movie of all time, Die Hard. But for me, every time I watch The Rock, I don't feel reminiscent of any 80s action star. I just feel like I'm watching The Rock. I don't feel like I see a John Rambo, John McClane, or T-900. No, I just see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with a different backstory in a different movie. The heart of the film is gone because Dwayne's too busy being Dwayne. And Skyscraper, it's just another film in the category of big action, little heart for The Rock. So the plot follows The Rock as forgettable hero number 7, tasked to do a security overview for this revolutionary new building in China. But despite the film telling us numerous times that the building has virtually no way to be penetrated, it gets penetrated. The Rock then has to break into this building after it has already been broken into and save his family before the bad guys get away. Pretty standard plot for the Rock film, nothing as intricate as Die Hard, but you don't really expect it when you see Dwayne. And like the 80s action movies, I find it's just a little lesser in every way. So the action is alright, nothing fantastic, but it's not bad per se, and there are some moments that you will feel a little tension. One part that I thought was fun was Neve Campbell's back in action, and it's always cool to see her after her Scream debut. And another pro slash con slash don't know where to put it, The Rock is The Rock. Now, I personally don't like that, but if you do, you will probably like this movie. He's that classic charismatic big guy, but there's nothing else around it. So if you're a fan of that, you could go see this movie and have a fantastic time. For the rest of us, it's not going to be too great. Now, the ways the film is lacking, though, is a lot more numerous. The film's entire plot line is exposed within the first 5 minutes of the movie as they go through this gigantic floor plan on the news for the building. Now, this might not seem so obvious at first, but me and my friend were going, oh, he's going to get trapped outside here, he's going to have to scale that, he's going to have to redo that, that's how he's going to save the building. And it's very obvious through this piece of exposition, every single plot point in this movie. That's so unbelievably lazy, I could not fathom it. And so when I watched that, I was like, there's no way they're going to do all those things. Nope, they do every single thing they detail at that first 5 minutes. The placement in China seems to have no real use in the movie except to try and sway the Asian market. I don't mind cash grabs as long as they're not so blatantly obvious. This one felt rather blatantly obvious to me. I also cannot remember a single person's name in this movie. I call them by their actors because I cannot think of what they were actually called in the movie. They are so utterly bland and forgettable. And I think the most egregious fault of this movie, you are trying to compare yourself to Die Hard, one of the greatest action films of all time. What do you expect when people say you're not as good as the greatest action film of all time? You're setting yourself up for failure at that point. There's one highlight and one pseudo-highlight that I'd like to point out. First, the good highlight. When Dwayne is scaling the building, there are some moments where he loses his grip and it's a little tense. Some of it was detailed in the trailers, which kind of sucked. But overall, that's probably the most action-packed moment of the movie, and the moment I had the most fun that the movie wanted me to have. Now, the kind of pseudo-highlight is I love pointing out Chekhov's guns in movies. If you don't know what a Chekhov's gun is, it's a line or an object in a movie which doesn't seem to have any significance, but later on becomes very significant. I love pointing them out as a fun game with my friends, and this movie is full of Chekhov's guns. So if you enjoy playing that game where you're like, oh, that's going to be a big deal, that's coming up later, that's how they saved the day, you will love Skyscraper. It's like a minefield of them. If you want a suggestion for the movie, I don't need to make it. The movie makes it itself. Watch Die Hard. If you want another action movie that does a lot better than this one, pick an 80s action star and just look at their top hits. They're all fantastic, and they really are a lot better than what Dwayne's offering us right now. Overall, I'm just done with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson being the face of action right now. I think he's generic, I think he's bland, and he doesn't want to do enough interesting things with the movies. He has a lot of sway in how his movies are made and produced because he is such a big name at this moment, and I don't think he has any good input that actually improves the film at this point. Either learn how to act or get out of the spotlight, because I think there's better actors behind you.